California's electric vehicle mandate may be blocked. A group of House Republicans introduced legislation that would restrict California's ability to ban traditional gas-powered cars as part of the state's electric vehicle push. The 4 Republicans, led by Representative John Joyce of Pennsylvania, said the bill, the Preserving Choice of Vehicle Purchases Act, is designed to protect American consumers' freedom of choice and block stringent purchase requirements that would lead to higher costs. The legislation comes months after California, which leads the country in annual car sales, approved regulations mandating that all car purchases are zero emissions by 2035. Quote, "We have seen this time and time again. The heavy-handed government intervention, like California's proposal to ban internal combustion engine vehicles, limits consumers' choice and infringes upon Americans' freedom when choosing what's best for themselves and their family," stated Congressman Bob Latta. Quote, "California's misguided proposal will have ramifications that will go well beyond its own borders and would make it more difficult for Americans to get work, drop their kids off at school, and travel to visit loved ones." But before we go further, I want to remind you to subscribe and click that little bell for notifications. We give you more than first looks of new vehicles and car reviews. We give you car smarts because knowledge is power. Representative Latta, who serves as a senior member of the House Energy and Commerce Committee, added that legislation would help preserve consumers' freedom to choose the vehicles they want and can afford to drive. In addition to Latta, Representative Jay Obernoy of California, Gus Bilirakis of Florida, and John Joyce of Pennsylvania also sponsored the legislation. Joyce was listed as a primary sponsor. Obernoy said in a statement, "In places like my rural California district, where my people commute several hours to work every day just to feed their families, electric vehicles are not only unaffordable, but also impractical, especially when residents are asked to unplug their vehicles' chargers to accommodate the state's failure to produce sufficient electricity." Quote, "We need a market-based approach that will enable continued competition in the marketplace and push electric vehicles to do better and more affordable while enabling people to make their own choices about what type of car is best for them to drive. That is the economic system that our nation was built on, and our government should not be permitted to regulate away from that freedom." Bilirakis stated that California regulations were an example of elitists being detached from the real constraints of the energy grid and the average American consumer. In August, the California Air Research Board, or CARB, a leading state environmental agency, announced the vehicle purchase restrictions. California Governor Gavin Newsom celebrated the regulations, saying the state would continue to lead the revolution towards our zero-emission transportation future. In addition, another 17 states have laws in place that would tether their vehicle emission standards to those set in California, meaning the electric vehicle mandate would impact Americans nationwide. Under the Clean Air Act, the Environmental Protection Agency is empowered to grant California a waiver to implement stricter emission standards than the federal government. It shouldn't be that way. Each state should make their own decisions, and so should their people. Overall, the states adopted California's 2035 rule, representing more than 40% of the total U.S. car purchases, according to Latta's office. In quote, "California's discriminatory waiver request would set a costly and dangerous precedent," Joyce said in a statement. "One state should not be able to set the national policy of Americans and should not be able to coerce them into making purchases they can't afford." I agree. Congress should pass the Preserving Choice in Vehicle Purchases Act to preserve your ability to choose the vehicle you want to buy. If you like this video, give it a like and subscribe for more videos like this one. If you have any questions or comments, because I'm sure you will, I'll be happy to answer. And you can support me by buying me a cup of coffee. The link is down in the description, as well as the links for the website, social media, podcast. I'm Lauren Fix. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Lauren Fix, and you can find this information on my website, carcoachreports.com and dailyflashshow.com.